What you see here is the model many adhere to. You see an individual in the center, within a circle, and it's a bigger circle around it, where you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people around him, or her. We're going to say him for the example's sake. Then you have a bigger circle, in which also you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you also have 8 people. So, what does this represent? This is the I, or the ego, or the self-reference that fallen mankind clings onto. And within this narcissistic attitude, because this is clinging onto self, you have people that reflect this self-reference. Those are relatives, friends, people they consider dear unto them because they validate them. And then you have a second group of people whom they also are involved with out of necessity or out of convenience, but they're not as close as these ones, because these ones, the individual feels a sense of control over them. That's why they're considered important. The rest are considered less important, but they're still relevant because they're either involved or related to those within this circle, or because those within the circle are dependent on them. So anyway, those in the second circle are also relevant, but they're considered less relevant than those over here. And those aside of these two circles, they don't even exist. Now, you should already see the problem with this model. And that is because everyone in this construct wants to be the center. But if everyone considers themselves the center, it's not going to work. It's going to become one big fight. So in the world, you have this thing called society. And in society, you have this image that people are heading towards. So this is the image that society reflects. Okay, or that society promotes. And then you have the people that manage to reflect this image that society puts out. Because they are part of a social circle where they're able to get a stable job, or they have access to people that belong to calls, or due to the social context they're in, they're able to align themselves perfectly with the image. Then you have those who are a bit less fortunate, and they're the ones that have to deal with this central figure, but they lack the means to completely reflect this image over here. Now those who are in the inner circle, they want to keep the inner circle the inner circle. The only reason it's inner circle is because there are people who are excluded. And the people that are excluded here are still relevant to the inner circle, but the inner circle also want them in. And the people here, they want to be part of the inner circle, but they know that it will likely not happen. And those who are outside of it are considered the scapegoats, or they're considered the nobodies. And nobody wants to be outside of the second circle. Everyone wants to at least be in the second circle or in the first circle. That's how society is modeled. And that works for fallen mankind. So, those in the inner circle, you can call them the middle class and the, or I don't want to say elite, but the upper class. Those are the inner circle. Those in the outer circle are, you can say, the lower middle class, or those people who are considered peasants. They're not poor. They're not estranged from the center, but they're a bit removed. And that's how society keeps itself going. Because when you look at this image carefully, these people are opposed to one another. So you can also see these figures as the bodyguards of the idol that society holds on to. The idol is guarded by those that can afford to reflect it. And then you have others who also want to reflect the idol, but they lack the financial means or the social access. So now they want to get in, but those over here keep them out. So there's rivalry between the two. And strange as it sounds, it's this rivalry between those in the inner circle and those in the outer circle that reduces violence. Because if everyone had access to the inner circle, they would soon find out that there's nothing special about this image that's being presented. But it's this image that keeps people in line. It's this image that gives people a common purpose to get along with one another. And it's because people are afraid of losing the validation by this construct of society that they align. Because once you are considered outside of the circles, anything can happen to you, nobody cares. So nobody wants to end up as an outcast over here. So even if this layer here is not that desirable, they prefer to be in it. Now, this is what Christ wants you to be free from. Christ does not want you to be stuck within the tensions of society. Now, whether you're considered here, outside, or here, by the world doesn't matter. Christ wants you to operate freely within this thing called society, without being being in bondage to it. Because this is idolatry right over here. And on a personal level, this is called privacy, my life, my free will, which means that the I, the self, has the right to control those other people. This is what it means to be important to someone. And common people, in general, they want to be validated so much that they will tolerate others exercising control over them to be accepted, whether it's in an outer circle or in an inner circle. People in the world that absolutely don't want to be controlled, they often end up outside over here. And they often become the target of violence, and they end up as homicide victims, or they end up in jail. So to get along with the world, there's an idol that you're not allowed to come too close to. But then you have the privileged ones who are in the inner circle, and you need to earn to be in the inner circle. That's what those in the outer circle are taught. Even though those in the inner circle never worked to be part of the inner circle, they received it as a privilege to secure the illusion of this idol. So those on the outside of the inner circle and one in the second circle, they think the idol is real. They think the idol has value. And because they think the idol has value, remember they are the majority, because they think the idol has value, that's why those in the inner circle have power over them. Because the moment they would realize that the idol has no validity nor anything to offer, they would just walk away and you wouldn't have a second circle anymore. And without a second circle, you just have people that surround an idol. But because the people in a second circle, they believe in the value of this idol, that's why those in the inner circle are able to exercise violence over those other people. So this is what keeps society going. A believer who walks by faith sees right through it. And that's why the believer is hated by the world. Even those who are outcasts often hate believers, because those who are often outcasts want to become the new idol. But nobody takes them seriously. So they also may turn against the believer. Now look. There's one more thing about this illustration. What if you add another layer here? And another layer. That's how you can build complex societies that are very stratified. And because the more stratified society is, the more the people away from the inner circle will think it's real. Because if society is simple, you can easily see through stuff. And if you can easily see through things, you realize that the idol is not worth anything. But the moment you have a lot of stratification, you have a hard time seeing that it's all fake. That's why money, I will always make the difference between money and currency. Money is the value ascribed to currency. That's why currency, that piece of paper that people use, that the people sweat for at the job, that's why it's so valuable to the human population, is because they don't see the central figure. They're told if you have a piece of paper, you're going to be accepted. Because you won't have life difficulties, and when you have life's difficulties, people tend to leave you. So, when you have the piece of paper, you are secured. And then you become a secured man, secured woman. And that secured man, secured woman, that is a central figure. That keeps people trapped in seeking relief from this idol. No. So they're seeking relief within this idol. They think that reflecting this idol will give them relief from life's difficulties. And that is what keeps them spinning in the cycle. Just realize that all the people involved in here are unfree. They're all toxic. One way or the other. Some are less toxic than others, but they're all toxic. And none wants to put up with the toxicity of the situation. That's why, from time to time, they will select some in the second circle, or rarely from the inner circle, but they will select people over here. And not all of them, but mainly those in the second circle on the outside, they will dump their tensions on their own here, and they will push them to the outside. Because when you're on the outside, you're considered a free target. Nobody cares about you. That's the whole purpose of this thing called society. It's a fear construct. So that's why you must align your thinking with Christ. You must see that currency, what people often call money, is nothing but paper and iron with numbers on it. And sometimes art that refers onto demons. That's all it is. The only reason people are stressed out about it, the only reason it has so much power over people is because people enable the violence upon themselves. And why are they tolerating violence upon themselves? Because they hope to be accepted if they become this significant figure. All societies are organized idolatry. And idolatry can only function through violence. So if you want to be part of society, if you want to have the acceptance or the validation of society, then automatically you agree with victimization. You agree with exclusion of people in need. You agree with a lot of stuff. Well, agree with Christ and be at peace.